Okay, we're checking out the Easy Motion Evo City. Got some nice upgrades on this since last year, but this is one of the more popular and better value e-bikes from them, in my opinion. Still $29.99, so about $3,000. You just get all these cool accessories like this rear rack, integrated bungee, even like a little click fit from Hebi track system, so you could put on some different accessories. Integrated lights, top light view. This is from Bush & Mueller. Up here we've got the Lumotech Lit. They're powered off the main battery pack, which is perfectly integrated into the frame. I really like it. Balances the weight of the bike, and it just helps us blend in. Easy Motion has the slogan of like the e-bike, or the bike, it's, what is it?
Electric bike that doesn't look like
Doesn't look like one. I'm so glad you know that, Mark. Mark used to work at Easy Motion, and I brought him along because he's kind of an expert on all things e-bike. Runs a shop in Irvine, recycles. And what's your website?
ebikesupply.com.
ebikesupply.com. Cool. We're doing the little call out. You know, definitely appreciate your help today. And there were a few things on this that I was excited to geek out on, but let me jump in a little bit. We'll bang out some of the normal stuff that people ask about it. Okay, so we got 3 sprockets up front, Shimano Altus, 8 in the rear, Shimano Alivio. So this is 24 speed. It's got, you know, plenty of gears so that you can pedal at a comfortable cadence, whether it's lower speed or higher speed. The top assisted speed on this is 20 miles per hour. So in my opinion, it's like, you got plenty of gears, but that's more traditional. BH is a bicycle company, first and foremost. They're over 100 years old, and they do Easy Motion. So I appreciate that. Got nice integrated cables, water sealed threaded here, coming from the electronics. Motor inhibitors on both brake levers. They're a little more generic. I didn't see a label, but I'm imagining these are Shimano. We got micro shift triggers, ergonomic locking grips. Love that. Those are branded Easy Motion or E-Motion. And that's one of the things you get from just a higher end brand. This also has a 2-year comprehensive warranty, and I think you can upgrade to like 5 years on some of it, maybe not the battery if you register it. Shimano cranks, alloy platform pedals. They got the rubber. Those can be a little bit slick if you're riding in wet conditions, so keep your eye on that and be careful. Composite fenders, pretty good length on those, and they're very tight. This is one of the areas that I wanted to get your feedback on, Mark. Tell me about the fenders.
You mentioned geek out a little bit. Let's geek out on the fenders. So the fenders are a composite alloy sandwich. They are 30% lighter than plastic, but they're a lot stiffer. As you can see, deflection is all but gone.
Yeah,
which is really awesome.
Really quiet too. Like, that's one of the things, you start to add all these accessories. You want stuff that's solid but practical. So you're not going to get the rooster tail on your back, and you're not going to get your gear wet. Also, is that the same thing right here?
Same thing right here. Same alloy composite material. So it's lightweight, it's extremely stiff, and it's not bulky.
Yeah, and it matches.
And it matches.
Like the color scheme on these, we were trying to figure out the exact name for this. I don't know if it's gunmetal, or you were like anthracite something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I just called it like metallic gray, but we've got matte black and matte blue accents, and again, just beautifully done on the battery casing, and even the fork has a little bit of color, splash of color, and the bungee cords here in the back. But you'll notice this one's kind of a demo bike. We got a little nick right there, and some on the plastic casing, so you get those little bumps and bruises. I would be careful with that. That's one of my little areas of opportunity with this bike. I'm gonna hit some of my complaints. So we've got the charging port right here where you plug in to charge the battery. It's nice that you don't have to take the battery off to do so, but if you're plugged in and this crank arm goes past, it could bend it. Now, it's probably not gonna go that way because you can't pedal that way. The bike can't move. But one of the other complaints I have is that you go all the way this way and it collides with the kickstand. There's already a little scratch on that. It's a nice kickstand. It's adjustable length. And, you know, you could potentially mount one back here. We do have the holes to do so, but they've got the disc brake mounted, and then a nice little cable management system going on, and the cable's tucked up behind the quick release. Now this is a full and proper quick release, 10mm threaded, a little bit stronger, and just nicer. Good upgrade. From here you can also see the torque sensor over there. That's TMM4. It measures the strain, and so it's a little bit more fluid. I've noticed when pedaling that it picks up really quickly, but then it doesn't shut the motor off super quick, and I think that's so that you don't have this surgy feeling where it's like you know, as soon as I ease off, it stops. Like, it's responsive when you start, and it's a little bit delayed when you stop. We'll see that later on the ride test. Key slot right here for the battery. Also a little bit in the way of the crank arm, but not a huge deal. You do have to kind of twist it, pull the battery up, and when you do so, the battery can kind of nick this seat tube. I might try to do that. We've got the key right here, might as well. So I take the display off. Will you hold that for a second, Mark? Thanks, man.
Yep.
Put the key in. This is always fun to do with one hand. There we go. Unlock it, pull up. There we go. And this is where you want to be careful so you don't bang into that seat tube. The battery's pretty nice. You know, there's a little LED indicator. One of my complaints is that I think you have to have a little dongle to charge the battery separate from the bike, because see, that interface is different. And those are a little easier to misplace. Just keep an eye on it. You know, it's nice that you have the option to do both. It'd be really nice if it used the same charging port, but the price on this gives you a good value, and, you know, just be responsible. There we go. So we get it on. You can't pull the key out, which is nice, so you don't forget. And then you lock it and pull it out. Now the battery is secure. I wish that they would have, you know, put some bottle cage bosses on that seat tube. I feel like there's plenty of room. We're looking at the larger of two frames here. This comes in 20-inch and 22-inch. We weighed it. It's about 59 pounds. It's not super light, and part of that's because the suspension's a little bit more basic. This is not an air fork. It does have lockout, which is nice, but there's no other adjustability like rebound or anything. The fenders add some weight, the extra gears, second derailleur, the rack. It's fine. And again, this is the larger size of the bike, so the medium size one might be a little bit lighter. Let's see, what else we got here? Schwalbe Marathon tires, Performance Line Green Guard puncture protection, reflective sidewall stripe. These are 28 by 1.5, a little bit narrower, more efficient, but not super narrow like a road bike. 14 gauge spokes up front, 13 in the rear, a little bit thicker to give you some strength around that motor and to support the weight of a rack and potentially just a larger rider. And the way the rack's set up, it doesn't even use these extra bosses. So you could do your own different rack if you wanted, but the one that they've got here supports the fender nicely. You've got multiple struts going on to just keep it rattle free. Do you have anything you want to geek out on here?
Yeah, I mean, just cleaning. They do that just to clean it up right here. You know, you don't have that typical strut right there. It cleans up the lines of the bike, and
sure,
with the design of the frame, you know, they really do a good job at that. So that is nice. One
of the areas, you know, we were messing with the seat post earlier, is 31.6 diameter, so you could potentially get a thud buster, or you were saying you like body float. That's a nice aftermarket piece.
Yep, love the body float.
Kind of smooths out the ride because these are more efficient tires, and it might be a little stiffer. I love the suspension, and frankly, I'm a big fan of this tool-free adjustable angle stem and slightly swept back riser bar, and the ergo grips. I mean, this is a fairly comfortable bike, one that you could commute on and feel relatively comfortable.
Right, exactly.
With gel saddle. You were telling me you love that, right?
Love the gel saddle. You know, one of the first things to go in a shop is usually the seat, but Easy Motion, you know, they put that Soleil Royale saddle on there, which works really nicely. And
you mean that's like one of the first things you help customers replace?
Yeah, because it's usually garbage, you know, the seat that's on there.
Yeah. Okay. Will you help me with that little, you can lock it in here. There we go. Quick release. Easy enough to do. Again, quick release on the rear. It's going to make changing flats and doing service a little bit easier. Quick release up front. This is standard 9mm. Yeah, and then I guess the lights. So both of them being integrated that we talked about before. I guess I should talk about how this works. Like, how do you get everything going? You come up here to the display panel, and you have to hold down on that power button. You got to be patient. It takes a few seconds. There we go. Starts to come to life. It says our wheel size and some other stats. Man, our battery is really low on this. Or, oh, nope, there it is. Did it just take a second? Have you seen that before?
So it does that power on self-test that it did on the previous one.
It's like a diagnostic?
It's measuring the torque sensor, and it's zeroing it out, so you have a good feedback.
Okay, thank you for that, because I was like, uh-oh, I hope we try to get everything organized properly for these rides. So one of the areas that's changed on this display, you may recognize it's kind of the similar form factor of their older ones. Really easy to reach, easy to read, fairly large, and it keeps the cockpit clean enough. So you do have, you know, triggers on the left, triggers on the right. Although this tiny one here, it's a little crowded. Like if I'm trying to do that, it does work, but it's just very tight. Everything's kind of close. It's nice that they were able to pack so much in. Coming back to the display, speed up here, battery level indicator, 5 ticks, and percentage. That's nice to have, because sometimes you're just guessing. Like 20% increments it leaves a lot to be desired in that way. We arrow up from 0 level assist to 30, 50, 70, and 100%. And that's nice. In the past, those were different percentages. I was told that they upgraded and kind of changed their controller, so this is meant to be a little zippier now.
Yeah. So to what I understand, it's a little zippier. Actually, the distance till empty feature will learn your riding style, and it will change to reflect a more accurate fuel gauge.
That is so cool. So it gives you some feedback on, it's like a trip meter that learns. That's what I'm saying. Very cool. Very cool. I was messing with that earlier, and I was like, hey, does it respond? This one doesn't have any information, because it's like, maybe it's brand new, or the battery is a different one or something. But that's a cool feature. When you press the power button, it cycles through these different readouts. So we've got like total distance, like an odometer, and then total time ridden, and then total average speed, I guess. Yeah, I think that's what that is. And then when you go to the next one, it's trip distance, trip time, and trip average speed. So you get a little bit of both, total and trip. Lots of information packed in here for how compact it is. And of course, we hold down the minus button for a second here. We see that little light indicator. That should have our headlight and our rear light going, although there is a physical switch on this one. And there we go. So you can switch off the headlight if you want. You click it over to the right and it turns it on. And we got the brake light going on. Pretty cool. Very cool to have those safety features and the reflective sidewall stripe. Like, I'm always talking about, you know, white bikes or reflective bikes. I feel like this one's cool looking, kind of sporty, but it is a little bit more visible. Might be.
Yeah. So you know, the safety is very important, especially on a city commuter style bike. Having the reflective sidewall and the front and rear lights, it's the total package. Yeah,
it's really complete. Is this your security blanket here, Mark? Are you doing all right?
This is actually my pillow. I sleep on this sometimes.
Been carrying that around. What is this?
This is actually the battery neoprene cover. I don't know if you're aware, but in cold weather, lithium-ion batteries have a sag, and their output diminishes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a clever, unique way to keep that energy in there by keeping the battery warm in very cold weather climates.
Nice. So I've seen these in the past, but some of the people watching may be new to it. Let's talk about how to use this.
Okay.
If your bike is in the garage,
yes,
and it's already freezing cold, this is just gonna like keep it cold. You know, it's like you have to store the bike or the battery somewhere that's already warm, then put this on to keep it warm.
Right, and it's more for riding during a ride. So when you're out there, you got the wind chill factor going. Your down tube is going to be freezing cold in you know, Utah and some of the colder weather states.
Yep.
And that's going to contribute to, you know, freezing the cell and diminishing the actual capacity of it.
Yep.
Intra ride. So this keeps it. It's like putting a jacket on when it's really cold.
Want to zip it on?
Let's do it.
You gonna go for this? Sorry, the crank arm's like right in your way.
Let's see how quick I can do this.
He kind of puts it on there. Love that the cables are all internally routed through the frame. Keeps it really clean looking. There we go. Reminds me of like a wetsuit I used to have for surfing and stuff.
Let's see.
He's got it lined up on this side. Do we have is the zipper at the bottom?
Yeah, zipper's at the bottom. This just goes on like that. Gonna line it up.
Good job.
Should just be able to.
We're getting it.
Get it.
The reason I asked Mark to do this is because he did it like perfectly when we were inside.
Of course, right?
But
you go on camera and it's a different thing.
And again, the call outs here is this. I think I would be putting it on and maybe leaving it on if I was storing the bike inside, but some people can't store it inside, and therefore you've got the battery charging separately with the dongle. You bring it out, you clip it on, you spend a few minutes screwing around with the neoprene cover. it's an imperfect system, but it's one that's unique. It's one of the few that give you, there you go, you want to give that a pull now. There we go. So, oh no, maybe we should just hold off on this. I'll give you a few more minutes. We'll give it a go. Between the kickstand, the bottle cage bosses, there's a few areas you could upgrade. Did you get it?
Got it.
You got it. Success.
So we're just gonna go up like that, situate it nicely.
Get your logo. And I was told by someone, like, hey, it keeps it clean too.
That's very true, because you have that seam that runs down through here, so dirt and stuff just keeps it fresh.
And you could even charge with that on, because again, the second charging port is down there. I think we're good. We've discussed like everything about this bike. Do you have anything else to say before we do some test rides, Mark?
Not ready. Let's hit it.
Let's do it. Okay. Thank you. Being a good sport. It's fun to kind of look at these together and get different perspectives. And I try to be as constructive as possible while hopefully illuminating some of the question marks for people to determine if this is right for their needs. Okay. I'm in like level 2 pedal assist right now, and the way that the twist throttle works is it doesn't activate unless you're in level 0. So one thing to keep in mind is, let's say that you're loading this into your car or doing something like that. Make sure that this isn't on, first of all, but if it is, definitely not in level 0, because that's when the throttle works. This is one of the few bikes out there now that like offers throttle and pedal assist and a more advanced cadence sensor. That TMM4 torque sensor is it's really fluid, and it's kind of it's neat to have both of those systems going on. Okay, so here we go. Let's do the throttle. Whoa boy, taking off. Up to like 18.5 right there. Got these hydraulic disc brakes, are nice to have. Accelerating at full speed, 20, and it cuts out. So kind of as advertised. Oh boy, some shifting of gears here. Okay, let's change it to pedal assist this time. So we're at level 30%. That's the lowest level pedal assist, and you can still hear the motor going because it's an internally geared hub motor. Dafus tend to be one of the higher quality hub motors that I've tested, but the gears, they make a little bit more noise, and you might have noticed the delay when I stop pedaling. So I'm going to arrow up now to full speed. Even though I'm pedaling right now, I'm not pushing. And then, as I push a little bit, that's when the torque sensor activates. There we go. Hey, buddy. Want to trade up?
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to see Mark hop on this too, so you can get the third-person perspective. Again, we're in a little more of an upright body position right now. More comfortable. There he goes. Want to do a flyby? Whoa. we don't want to lose anyone. Oh boy. Brake test, but no skidding. Do it nice and smooth. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's the real stuff. Thank you, man. I really appreciate your help.
Of course.
I think that's about it. I'll have all the details on this, the really fine details, back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And of course, ride safe, guys. We'll see you next time.